When the Civil War started, there were 5 Southern generals with the rank of full general. These were, in order, Samuel Cooper, the Adjutant General of the Confederacy. Because he was Adjutant General and he was an older guy that didn't have field command, you don't hear about him too much. Albert Sidney Johnston maintained the great confidence of Jefferson Davis, the Confederate president, but was killed at the Battle of Shiloh, so we never really got to see what his true field command prowess was. Robert E. Lee, who would of course go on to become what has to be the most important and well-known of Confederate generals. The 4th, Joseph E. Johnston, who always thought he should have outranked Robert E. Lee, held several notable commands, can't claim a whole lot of victories on the Virginia Peninsula, in Mississippi, around Jackson, in falling back to Atlanta, but a notable and capable Southern commanders by all accounts. And P.G.T. Beauregard, hero of 1st Manassas or Bull Run. Several important commands all the way up the East Coast also fought at the second day of the Battle of Shiloh. And these, in a way, these remaining 3 Confederate commanders of full general rank, you would hear from them throughout the entire Civil War. Now, even the character of Southern generals were a little bit different. You don't have, like you do in the North, political generals rising to army command. Once in a long while, you're going to have them rise to divisional or even corps command. But generally speaking, you are going to have generals who went to West Point or to VMI or to the Citadel. Well-trained Confederate generals out in the field. These started to dwindle, of course, as the war went on. Now, below the full generals, there are several other notable generals, to say the least, who would have independent command throughout the Civil War. You're going to have some very well-known ones like Braxton Bragg. People don't necessarily know him positively. He can't claim a whole lot of successes other than victory in the second greatest battle of the Civil War at Chickamauga. You're going to have several others as well. John Bell Hood also did not do all that well in the West. And other commanders who rose to that occasion, Stonewall Jackson in the East, could certainly operate independently and with great success on occasion. James Longstreet, who was a great corps commander by most accounts, but really didn't succeed at independent command the way that some expected he might have been able to. Other Confederate commanders, Earl Van Dorn, the great cavalry commanders, Nathan Bedford Forrest, and J.E.B. Stuart also all added flamboyance and energy to the Southern cause wherever they went with their independent commands. And we have to mention Jubal Early, who broke away from Lee's main army and will actually invade the North, get into Maryland, and almost capture Washington, D.C. in 1864. And then on several other levels, there are other commanders who could hold semi-independent commands, who also commanded Confederate corps, who you really have to recognize. Some of the greats, A.P. Hill, fiery A.P. Hill, and the always seemingly angry D.H. Hill. Patrick Cleburne, the great Southern Division commander, some say maybe the best Southern Division commander, who fought in the West and was killed in the Battle of Franklin. Leonidas Polk, Confederate Corps commander, who met his end outside of Atlanta, Georgia. Hardee, John B. Gordon, Dick Anderson, the list goes on and on. But I think there's something about both the character of the Southern general, the well-trained, well-disciplined, willing to take chances Southern general, that characterizes the Southern high command as a little bit different from the North. Something else you find about the Southern generalship is they did not have quite the pool of resources that the North had. The North had more trained military commanders. It took them a little longer to find them, but they could eventually replace some others at the high command. The South, once they lost a Stonewall Jackson, once they lost certain other commanders, they really had a tough time replacing those men.